Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's been a while since we cleaned up the crank and cleaned up the block and all that good stuff. So finally we're getting back started on the LS 5.3 rebuild. That's right. So it's winter time, my racing season is just about done with. I think I got one more race to do for this year. So might as well get started and get this motor done and hopefully installed in the car later on during this year. That's right, I'm installing this LS, it's a 5.3, into a 3rd gen Camaro. It's going to be a challenge, never did one before, so I'm going to make this a series of different videos of how to put the motor together, how to install it in the Camaro, all that good stuff. I'll show you everything that I used, how I did it, and all that stuff. So with that, let's go ahead and get started getting this motor back together. Okay, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be installing cam bearings into the block. The old ones are been knocked out. They're up there. The new ones are actually right next to it, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But what we're going to go ahead and do is get these cam bearings in the block. And this is just the first start of the build, so might as well start with the cam bearings. Let's go ahead and get those into the block. But first, before I do that, let's go over the cam bearings, what I'm going to put in there, the order, and all that good stuff. So, okay, let's first go over the cam bearings that's going on here. This is a, like I said, a 5.3, and believe it or not, they do make different cam bearings for 5.3, depends on the generation of the motor. So if it's Gen 3 or Gen 4, any of that stuff, that's going to matter. And I think even in the 5.3 Gen 3, there might be different bearings. So just make sure you do choose the correct bearings and all that stuff. So with that, let's go into details about placements and sequence and all that good stuff, numbering, and how to know which one goes and what, what part of the block it goes into. Okay, when I took these cam bearings out, I actually did go ahead and label them with a Sharpie. So, and actually on the bearings itself, sometimes they'll have a number stamped right into it, and it shows the position number. So all these will have a unique position number. This says like a number 3, and it came out of the 3rd position. And I'll go over what all that means. Like that's numbers 2, and that says number 4. And there's a reason why that is so. So you're only going to see 3 different size bearings in here. That's just how how it is. And we'll show you what position 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is. So let's go ahead and do that next. Okay, for cam bearing installation, the front of the block, as you can tell, the block is upside down. This is position 1. Then it goes 2, 3, 4, and 5. The positions or the part numbers 2 and 4 share the same size bearing, as well as 1 and 5 shares the same position. Then number 3 has its own. Now on the new box, they're actually going to be numbered. Now some boxes on the tabs will show you a position or the part number or what position they go in. Some do not. This one in particular does not have that. That actually is stamped on the bearing itself. So I don't know if you can see that or not. There's like a -1 right there. Hopefully you can see it. Okay, so that's a -1. Then, oops, get this out. Okay, then you'll see a -2. Okay, and so forth. So then you see a -3, and that's typically the middle bearing. Then you go back to a -2, which is right there. Then you go back to a -1's right there. So when they package these, they package it by the position that goes in the block. So no matter if you go position the box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it doesn't matter which end you start at when you put it into the block, because the common middle one is always be the 3. These will be the same, and these will be the same. So long you put it in that order in the block, it doesn't matter how you pull them out of the box and how you put it in the motor. This hole here is the hole that you need to line the bearing up with. And the bearing has 2 holes in it, and I'll throw a picture in here and I'll show you. one of those holes in the bearing needs to go in this position. What you try to strive for is put that hole pretty much in the center of this hole here. Okay, this kind of this elongated slot that you see here. You try to aim for right in the middle. Okay, and this slot's going to be the same throughout the block. So you'll see this slot all the way down through here. It's hard to see all the other slots in there, but trust me, they are there. As you can see here, you have two slots, or two holes on it, okay? So when you put the bearing in, you're going to basically put that slot, so you can see where that slot is in relationship to the hole. That bearing might need to be twisted just a little bit, but what you're trying to do, you're trying to get that hole lined up with that slot, similar like that, okay? So you want this hole kind of get in the center. So, and what I like to do is I like to get a bearing kind of lined up on it like this. And normally what I would do to make sure I'm going to put the bearing in the right location, I will typically mark the top of the bearing, okay? That will show me the alignment for it. Tells me I'm going to have to have this thing straight up and down, perpendicular to the block. As long as I'm within there, in that range, I should be good. Sometimes people will take a scribe and say, okay, that needs to go that. But if you just get close to it and put it up like this, I think should be good. As long as this hole starts to line up to that slot, you should be good as well. But before we start to drive these in, the next thing we have to do, we're going to clean the bearing up, getting the grease off of it. Make sure the block is degreased. There's no oil residue or any stuff in where the bearings go. So we'll make sure that's all good and clean. Then we'll start to install these bearings. Yep. Give them a good dry off. Okay, just blow it out really good. Okay, we're getting ready to install it next. And what I like to do is install the furthest one back first, and I'll work on my way this way until I get down to like this one here. Then I'll put the tool from the other way, go on the back side, and then I'll do this one, then this one. Or I might do this one and this one. I don't know. Whatever is easier. Probably do this one, then this one. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and get started with that. Now, I have did it where I did not put the tool in from the back side. I have done it where I started from the back and work my way, because some engine stands are not allowed to bring the tool, or you have to take the block off, turn it, and you have to do it up on your bench or something like that. But I have done it where I have started from the back, work them all the way up there, and I put this one in the front just like this, which is probably not a good thing to do, but okay, you want as much as length as you can, and that just squares up the bearing a lot better. Let's go ahead and get the tool all the way through. Next thing you want to do is get the bearing down here. Okay, I did orientate it which way I want it. This goes straight up. Then see if I can show you where my finger is the line for the bearing, and what I'm trying to do is get it close up in the center. When you get ready to drive the bearing on, you want this cone to be fully seated up here. Okay, then you want the tool to be all the way up there, touching against the bearing on the edge. Okay, then we're going to take a big hammer, a good sized mallet. We're going to start driving it in to the block, the bearing into the block, so you'll start to see this move. So basically you'll put one hand on here as you drive it in. Okay, I'll just show you. Just kind of put your hand up against the cone there. Make sure that the tool is lined up on the bearing. Take the hammer and we'll start to blow on the back side of it like this to start driving it in. I'm going to start driving that bearing in. You can see how it's going in. This raised edge is still out. Okay, you can still see how it's not flushed yet. And on the other side, you can see still how much more it still has to go. So let me go ahead and pause the video. I'll drive the rest in. I'll show you where it needs to stop. But you can see basically where it needs to stop at. You can see kind of how there's a edge right here. Okay, That bearing needs to come right up to about that edge right there. Okay, now you can see how the bearing is right up there to that edge. Okay, and you can see on this side, oop, there we go, how the bearing is just inside the hole there. So I think that's a good stop to place because it's kind of centered in that hole. If anything, it might need to be brought over just a little bit more. The other thing you want to check to make sure your alignment hole is correct, and I'll show you that here in a second. Okay, what you want to do is this hole right here, you want to make sure you get a 90 degree and kind of poke in it and make sure it, there we go, make sure you can poke into it, and it's if you can poke into it, then that's a good placement. So we consider this one as installed. We'll get to the next one. Okay, all the cam bearings are in now. So the next thing we're going to do, going to take a stock LS cam, lube it up, stick it in there, and see if she rotates free. Okay, you just slide the cam in, and what you want to do, just make sure you can turn it freely. If it turns freely, you got your bearings installed correctly. So anyway, yeah, this turns pretty freely, so I think we're good to go on the cam. Okay, in case you're wondering which cam I'm actually going to put in this block, on this motor, I'm using Brian Tooley truck doors cam. You can see that's the specs. Okay, it's a very mild cam for this motor. Like I said, this is just going to be a good old street motor. Nothing radical with it by any means. He just wants something he can go around town, very reliable, have a little bit of performance with it. That cam would be more than enough adequate for his needs. So, okay, with that, that kind of concludes this video of how to install cam bearings, how to install the cam, check it, all that good stuff. I did, which I did not show you, I did check clearances on the cam, showing around 3,000 clearance on the cam, as in the cam bearing sizes and all that good stuff. I think that pretty much covers everything. The cam bearings, just kind of let you know, if you didn't see the box, Durabond. For this spec, it's CH10, but you have to check to see what year of 5.3 you have, because it will be different between the years and stuff. So with that that kind of concludes this video. Man, if you link, like, share, do what you need to. Got any questions, leave down the thumb. Anyway, with that, done with this video. The next video coming up will be getting the pistons in, the crank in, all that good stuff, and kind of make this a short block. So the next video, hopefully we'll have everything together with the pistons and the crank in and all that stuff. Might go over the crank bearings and all that good stuff.